Ready? Okay, I'm assuming this is live. Hello there, everyone. It's Crystalline here, and welcome to the live. So if you want to join me, please hop on Zoom. I have put the link in the, right. I've put the link in the the comments or in the description, so you can join me here on Zoom. That would be great. I'd love to have you. Otherwise, if you want to just chat on Facebook, I will keep the window open there. Let's see, but I do have to turn the volume off, and I should be able to see if there are any comments. Okay, so hi. I am wanting to talk to you this week about your spiritual philosophy. So as spiritual healers and life coaches, one of the biggest challenges that people face is being able to communicate their philosophy to prospective clients, to the world, right? So I know you have your philosophy, and you probably have your philosophy inside your head, and you're probably living your philosophy, or you're probably trying to live your philosophy. Maybe you get challenged, right? All of that stuff is really important for you to be aware of and for you to communicate. So, as a part of my intuitive business framework, there are 5 different steps to becoming a spiritual life coach that has a really thriving business, okay? Now, the first step is to to learn and to heal yourself and to develop a relationship with healing and with coaching practices. So learning how to do shadow work, learning how to do light work, learning how to heal, right? So that's the first step, the first pathway that you need to have in order to become a life coach and to establish your business. After that, like after you've worked on yourself and after you've studied yourself, right? Because this is an important part of being a spiritual life coach. It's understanding yourself and what it is you bring to the table. Now, as coaches and healers, our relationship with pain and trauma is actually very valuable because the pain and the trauma we have experienced will definitely help other people and help them thrive. Okay, it's 2 aspects. First of all, being able to talk about your pain, being able to talk about your trauma, and then being able to tell people how you overcame that trauma. That is one part of the journey, right? That's one way you can educate people, by sharing your own experience. The other way, though, is to create a framework that where you take your own pain and the way you healed it, and you create a program that will help people who have gone through the same pain be able to heal themselves. That's what a lot of us do as healers and life coaches. And this is where we can have very significant authority in the marketplace because, if you've never experienced pain or trauma, people are not really going to want to work with you because how can you really relate to them unless you're some kind of a talking head that's just parroting what you heard someone else say, right? So our job is to get in touch with our feelings, right? To know our problems, but also to be able to tell the stories of our problems, to be able to look at our problems objectively so that we can personalize our relationship with our problem and then depersonalize our relationship with our problems, right? So when we depersonalize it, we then can talk about it in a more clinical way. We can talk about things from more of an objective way where we are able to detach emotionally and teach, okay, and help others receive the information they need so that they can, apply our healing techniques to themselves. I hope this is making sense to you all. I hope this is making sense. I see that Roxanne has signed on. Thanks for saying hello, Roxanne. Hi. It's good to see you, darling. I'm so glad that you've made it today. So going back to the spiritual philosophy, and actually I want to talk to you all a little bit about the 5 pathways, because in my humble opinion, those pathways are extremely important because they make sure that you as a healer and a life coach are able to feel confident and vibrant and worthy as a coach doing the thing that it is you are doing. So I'm opening up my notes because I like to have my notes whenever I'm talking about my pathways, because there's a lot of detail with them, but I want to try to make it really simple. So I'm 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 doing a little half step here. I was going forward, then I'm kind of jumping back to the beginning. All right. So there are in my perspective, okay, I've been a life coach for 10 years and a healer for over 30 years, okay? In my perspective, there are 5 things that you really need to master in order to make yourself um, a really great life coach, not just with what you're offering, but how you feel about what you're offering, to feel so connected to your work, to your blog, to your website, to your channel, to your message, that it just flows from you with ease and elegance and grace. And it makes you so trustworthy that people are dying to work with you, and you find your appointment book full of people who are excited to work with you. And, people are watching your videos and reading your blog, and it's really very exciting, right? I love doing this work, and I love working with people who are so creative and they have so much to offer. I love watching them succeed. So I have put together my 5 intuitive business framework. There are 5 pathways, okay, under this intuitive business framework. And the first pathway is the way of healing. Now, in this pathway, we work to uncover what needs to be healed in you, and we work to give you healing and coaching tools and techniques that are practical and usable that you will apply to yourself as you're healing yourself, but they're also stimulating your own creative understanding of how to work with pain so that you can create your own healing techniques. And it's beautiful because this all comes from you and your relationship with spirit. It's actually very beautiful. Now, so the first pathway is the way of healing. The second pathway is the way of service. And in that pathway, what you're doing is taking what you've learned about yourself in the healing pathway, okay, in the first pathway, and you are creating an understanding of what you are going to offer the marketplace by way of your services, right? Because you're a coach, but you're not just coaching generally. You're not just coaching about everything. You're coaching about what your soul is best excited, like most excited to offer, the thing that is unique to you. This is why you don't have to worry about whether there's a lot of competition with coaches and healers, because we are all so very different and our pain is so very different. And it's so beautiful because there's so much that you can give people that resonate with you. You don't have to try to give to people who don't resonate with you. You just need to honor your soul and follow your unique pathway, and the universe law of attraction will automatically send you your people. And I swear that's exactly how it works. It's wonderful. It's so uncanny that the people who come and work with you, that come and work with me, they get me. I get them. I get them because they have done my pain before. I understand them. And so I'm really qualified to be of service. And it's because of these pathways and this way of working with the intuition and with the soul and honoring the soul's journey to service. I hope that makes sense. Oh my gosh. Am I talking crazy, y'all? Y'all let me know if I'm talking crazy, okay? Put messages up there. Put any questions you have about anything I say. I'm checking the comments, okay? Jessica says it's 11:11 a.m. Where are you, Jessica? it's it's 6:11 here in California. Roxanne says, "Oh my God, that's so beautiful." I don't know what that was in referring. Oh, 1 minute in. Oh no, that was 1 minute ago. It was something I was saying. Roxanne was like, "That's beautiful. Thank you, darling." So let me get back to my pathways to make sure I stay clear, okay, and stay on target. So the second pathway is about it's the way of service, and it's about understanding how you can best be of service to people. So during that pathway, you want to be understanding your niche and your pain point, or your niche and their pain point. Now, if you don't know what a niche is, let me just tell you very simply that a niche is basically like your tribe, right? It's your specialty that you're offering to your tribe. And you might have an idea of what your niche is, but the way that I work, we want to not think our niche. We want to tune in to spirit, and we want to do two things. We want to use our feeling nature to guide us to our niche, to awaken within us who our soul wants us to serve. And we want to think about it. Okay, so we want to use the heart and the mind together. We don't want to just be all up in our head. Who should I serve? Well, let me try to think about this. Let me think about that. No, you want to use your heart and feel your way through this process. Okay, so that's the second pathway, the way of service. Now, the third pathway is the way of offering. And after you've done the work with these first two pathways, what you're going to find is that you are extremely tied in, like you are so clear about how you're going to help people. You now have to create a vehicle or a method of helping them. So you have to take all this great information, all this excitement, all this service, and you now have to put it into some kind of a program or a menu of services that actually allows you to help people and allows people to receive what you're giving. Okay? So for me, I love programs, meaning like taking, as a coach and as a healer, um, just a little side note, healing services can be offered like, one at a time, or 5 at a time, like you can ask a person to get 5 healing services from you. But usually with coaching, you want to sit down and have a set number of sessions that you're going to have with a person. And then you need to talk a little bit about objectives, because usually when someone is coming to you for coaching, they're wanting to get to a certain point, like, for example, this is very three-dimensional, but it might be, hey, Crystal, I want to get a promotion in my job, and I'm having trouble getting a promotion in my job. Okay, so that's something that requires a lot of time and looking at a number of things to try to get an answer. So you wouldn't just have one session and then tomorrow they go get their job. That's not usually how it works. Although we're open to that happening, if you can do it that quickly and it works, then go for it. Okay, but most of the time, especially for me, I need to do a little probing. I need to look at the beliefs. I like to look at what the subconscious processes are. I like to look at the astrology. I like to also, more than anything, it's the mindset, what they're thinking, like how they're framing life. What's their perspective on the world, because that tells you what the world is delivering back to them, right? Because this is a law of attraction universe. So it takes time to uncover all of that, especially when you want to work with the inner child. You might want to work with old wounds, trauma. You want to work with stuck emotions. If there are any physical ailments, if they're having pain physically, migraines, you need to do work around that. So personally, when people come to work with me, we work together for a minimum of 13 sessions. And that allows my clients and me, that's usually 3 months. Now, there are times when people come to me and they're really, really triggered, they're in deep pain. I will work with them twice a week, but when they are not super triggered, I will work with them just once a week, okay? And once a week still allows you to build momentum, right? You don't want to work less than once a week, because then they lose that momentum. You have a session, 2 weeks pass, they've gone off and done all sorts of things. You're kind of starting over again at the second week, okay? I don't recommend that. Once a week is awesome. They're high, then they might get a little bit low, but then you're there to help capture them, get them going to the next step, right? So doing that helps you and your client build a relationship, and it helps you understand their pain even more deeply, so that you can do the work you need to help them engage with that pain, heal and release, and set themselves free. All right. I hope this is making sense. I'm going to check in with y'all and see if there are any comments or questions. Miasha is there. Well, hello there, Miss Miasha. It's so good to see you. Great. Glad that makes sense. Awesome. All right. I was talking about frameworks. Oh my God, I can get really distracted. Okay. Right. So we were talking about the way of the offering, which is the third pathway. And you want to use the way of the offering as the time when you are creating your program, getting really clear about your spiritual philosophy, and you are taking responsibility for your spiritual philosophy. Okay. Now, for today's live, I wanted to talk to you about the spiritual philosophy. So I'm going to move on from pathway 3 real quick, just so I can tell you what the other 2 pathways are. And then we're going to just double back and talk about the spiritual philosophy and why I think that's so important. Okay. Now, the 4th pathway is what I call the way of the vessel. Now, the vessel, this is kind of really fun. I love this because I used to have a brick and mortar wellness studio, okay? It was beautiful spa, and we did massage and facials and waxing, and we taught Reiki, and we did healings, we had acupuncture, we had all sorts of wonderful, wonderful things in this studio. And it was really cool because I decorated the place, I had it painted, I did the floors, it was all me. And so people would come in the door And it was the experience, they would have an experience that I created. Now, a lot of us are working online. Partially, we know, you've got the pandemic, but also a lot of us want the freedom of being able to move around the world like I did, being a little nomadic. So you can live in Italy, you can live in LA, you can live wherever you want, you can travel, and you can bring your business with you. So online is really just awesome. And I feel very connected to people online. Look, I loved touching people. I was a massage therapist. I love being face to face, but I have to admit, doing my coaching work online is very cool. It just feels great. I can sit there and do my energy work, and it just feels awesome. And I still feel so connected to my clients. Um, so this way of the vessel pathway is about um, creating your vessel. Like, how are you going to bring your services to people? I have a website, okay? So your website is an expression of who you are. And it's a way to bring people, like people go to your website, it's like they arrive at the front door of your studio or your boutique, So you're gonna have to build a website. You're also gonna need a blog. Your blog is the best way to share your philosophy. So that does mean that you have to be writing and talking about your philosophy. But in order to know who you are as a spiritual life coach, you really have to engage by writing, because when you write something, you are accountable to it, okay? And a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, yeah, I don't want to really write, you know? And a lot of that is, I don't want to be accountable. I don't want to be held, responsible for the things I say, because we know when something's in writing, we have to own that. And our writing is subject to another person's interpretation, right? And of course, as a part of this program, a part of doing this work is I have to teach you how to write so that you can feel safe, and also so that you can feel safe, tell your truth, and um, protect yourself. Now, I don't want you thinking that you need to be protected. Okay, like, oh, I need to smudge myself and protect myself. You don't need all that. All you need to do is be in integrity. When you are in integrity, then you are naturally protected by the nature of integrity. Here's what I mean by that. If you write something that isn't true, and uh, if you write your philosophy and you frame it as the truth, you are opening yourself up to criticism and people who are like, that's not my truth, that's your truth, okay? There's nothing wrong with you writing your truth and saying that it's truth. However, I would probably train you to say, hey, this is my truth. This is my experience. This is how I experience the world. When you do that, people can't really touch you because you're in integrity with yourself, right? So these are the kinds of things we have to work out. And these are the things that should give you encouragement to go ahead and do your blogging, write your ebooks, write your exercises, right? All that stuff comes by way of writing. So I totally recommend that you do it and you take that kind of attitude. But that is a part of the work that we do together. This is a part of the work that we do as coaches to build our businesses. As healers, it's the same thing. If you want to share what it is you do, if you say, I do Reiki, you can talk about it, but on your website, you might want to write about it as well as talk about it. You could have a video of you saying, Reiki is blah, blah, blah. And then there's a little blurb where you say, Reiki written. Reiki is blah, blah, blah. All right. So that's a big part of it. So the way of the vessel is all about your collateral. What are you going to show up with? So it's your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, YouTube, your email list, your publishing strategy, how you're going to publish to your blog, your website, all that stuff is the vessel that is going to deliver your message to the public. All right. Just like you're in my Facebook group right now, that is that's a part of my vessel. My Facebook group is a part of my vessel. It's a part of the way I come to you and share with you what I do, right? And then the fifth pathway is the way of emergence. And that's when you actually do the work, where you emerge and you are like, I am a life coach and healer. I am a specialist in unworthiness. I have a blah, blah, blah platform. I have blah, blah, blah. And I do this, and this is how I help you. How can I help you? And then you start accepting clients and doing this awesome work. All right. So I'm going to check in again and see if you all have any questions. Let's see. Roxanne says it's making sense. And Roxanne says, I would love to live nomadic. Roxanne, it was awesome. Can I be honest with you? I have run my business from the jungles of Brazil, the jungles of Bali, and the jungles of Cambodia, the city streets of Paris, the city streets or the countryside of Tuscany. I have done it. I've worked on the beach in Spain. Okay. I love this kind of work. And the thing is, I be working. I go to, when I'm in Cambodia, it's not like I'm just laying there, hanging out, eating. Well, okay. Yes, I am hanging out, eating. Okay. There's a lot of that goes on. But what's really most exciting is the fact that I've got my laptop, and I'm thinking right now about this place when I was staying in, where I was staying in Cambodia. And boy, it was just magical. There was the family that owned the hotel where I was staying. They were beautiful. And every night we would do karaoke. Okay. I'd be out there working during the day, sitting with my laptop in their little cafe. I'm going to have to post some of those videos. I have these great videos of just these rainstorms that would come out of nowhere, just fun stuff. Oh my God, I miss traveling. I can't wait until I get my COVID vaccinations and I can actually start traveling again. All things in due time. But yes, Roxanne, yes, yes. Roxanne says, I love writing or typing. Yes, yes, thank you. Me too. It's so fulfilling, so satisfying. Are spiritual healing and Reiki the same thing? That's a great question. Yes. However, yes, spiritual healing is a broad umbrella term, and Reiki would fall under that umbrella. It's a type of healing. Some other types of healing are like quantum healing, um, tapping. What is this called? Emotional freedom technique, where you're doing the tapping, right? That's another form of spiritual healing. What is the one where you're doing the theta healing? There's theta healing, there's shamanic healing. There's so many different healing techniques. And there are so many unnamed healing techniques. And when I say that, what I discovered for myself is that I have a really particular way of healing and working with energy that nobody's named, and I know other people who do the exact same thing I do. They're like, girl, I was doing this and then this happened and that happened. And all these transformations that we've experienced the same way of healing, but we don't call it, there's no name for it. And I know that my particular way of healing, I've seen at least 4 or 5 other people who have done that, and we've talked about it, and it kind of comes to us in the exact same way. It's really interesting, So healing is a general term, and of course, coaching is more about engaging with the mind and creating pathways to achieving certain objectives. That's my particular definition of all those things. And, there are other people who would disagree with me on those things, but, that's okay. You'll develop your own understanding of stuff. Okay. And let's see. You would love to see that experience? Light language healing? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Um, yes, and it's actually quite fun doing these things. It's fun to work with spirit. It's fun to work with angels. It's fun to work with the gods and the goddesses. I really I resonate very strongly with archangels and devas, which are goddesses or gods and goddesses, but particularly with goddesses. That's the goddesses love talking to me, coming through me, as do archangels, which is really quite a blessing and quite fun. All right, let's see. I was in meditation one day and just started moving my hands everywhere, just like my hands were dancing. Yes, you see, Roxanne, when you allow yourself to just go with the flow, spirit can really work through you and awaken you to all these wonderful gifts and techniques and ideas. And that's why we meditate. That's why we just sit and be still and allow spirit to show us who we are and what we can offer. All right, so let me just, for our last 10, 15 minutes here, I want to talk to you all about your spiritual philosophy. Now, you'll recall that I said that it's in pathway number 3, the way of offering, where I said I wanted to talk to you about your philosophy. As a spiritual healer and a spiritual life coach, if you want to have impact, okay? Now, there's a difference between coaches and healers who have impact and coaches and healers who don't, okay? There are a lot of people who call themselves healers and call themselves coaches, but they're not healing and they're not coaching, okay? They are talking a lot. They're wishing things on their friends like, oh, I'm praying for you. Okay. You have the most impact when you set an intention and you put yourself out there. Okay. Um, Personally, I see anywhere from 15 to 20 clients per week. And that for me, it's a lot of clients. Okay. That is a lot of work. Okay. We got to be honest with you. That's a lot of work. And I don't necessarily recommend that you set those numbers as a goal for yourself, because and the reason I work at that intensity is because I am a child of Saturn. I have a very strong back. I can accommodate quite a bit of work. Okay. I am accustomed to working. Kia has joined us. Hi, Kia. She's joined us on Zoom. Um, so I'm accustomed to doing a lot of work. I'm accustomed to um, seeing a lot of clients. When I was doing massage work, I was actually I was doing anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 massages per year. That's a lot of massages, okay? And I loved it. I was loving every single minute of it, okay? So the point that I'm making here is that working as a healer impacts the world. It impacts the community. When you aren't working as a healer or a coach, then you don't have any impact. All right. So the point is that we want to do these businesses, we want to be successful because we bring our offerings and we impact people, we change people, we help them transform so that they can go out and thrive. Okay? So the point that I'm making is that in order to have impact, you've got to do stuff. You need to publish. You need to create videos. You need to have a website, okay? And you need to market those things so that more people can come and you can have more impact, all right? So in order to have impact, you need a philosophy, okay? You've got to determine what your spiritual philosophy is. Just because we're all on this call together does not mean that we are actually of the same mindset, okay? We might have some things in common. I'm sure we do, you know, peace, love, meditation, yoga, you know, but maybe you're a vegan and I'm omnivorous, you know? There's a big difference right there, right? So my philosophy would embody omnivorism, omnivorism. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to say that, okay? But your philosophy might embody veganism, okay? Whatever your philosophy is, whether it's God is masculine and feminine, God is light, or God has no polarity, okay? You've got to decide and you've got to talk about it. And then you've got to create structure around your philosophy so that you can actually help people receive your philosophy, know what the fuck you're talking about, and then use it. Okay? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to give people a bit of knowledge, some wisdom, so that they can then take that and then apply it to their lives, transform their lives, and then go out and do the thing that they're going to do. So your spiritual philosophy is your manifesto. It's like, what do you believe in? So I want to check in and see if you all have any questions. And I also want to check in with our guest, Kia. Kia, can you unmute yourself? If you don't want to turn on your camera, you don't have to, but you want to unmute yourself and say hi?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
Good, good. It's good to meet you. All right, darling, great. Do you have any questions or do you want to contribute to the conversation?
All of this is pretty much great. The next part that I guess I'm struggling with is how to um cross over, into doing videos and doing things that are going to reach more people, because right now my only platform is work because I'm a hairstylist. So that's where I do the most of everything,
Yeah,
because people come and sit in your chair, and I just attract the people who are supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And like when they get up afterwards and they're like, "Oh, I am so glad that I came in to get a haircut today because I wasn't going to," or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
So when they leave and they feel good on the inside and on the outside, and I do medium
right.
sometimes, and uh, healing work, but I want to get into the videos and stuff like that. I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay,
But
so Kia, that is such a great example of what I'm talking about. Um, you are having impact, excuse me, you're having impact with your people while they're in the chair. And you can, but it's also a little bit split because you're doing hair and you're offering them probably some really good advice. You're listening to them, you're loving them, you're boosting their confidence and their courage, right? So one of the things that you might want to consider doing is listening to yourself understanding what it is you're saying to them to help them, because you probably have a unified message, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, sometimes just whatever downloads that are coming through,
sure,
they're usually
absolutely,
for that specific person.
but there's probably even a theme to your downloads,
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
because you're a vibrational match to that frequency. You're not going to get a download that, if you're at a 10, you're not going to get downloads that are at a level 2.
Right,
Right? You're not
right.
going to, because some people need to work with like the demonic fields. Okay.
Mhm,
If you're
mhm,
not carrying that vibration, you're not
mhm,
downloading information from that field. So
mhm,
your messages are all of the level 10. Okay.
mhm,
So what you want to do is listen to those messages and then I would say start writing. Okay. Or
mhm,
if you don't want to do the writing, because you're you're a hairstylist, you got that going. That's keeping you busy, right? So
mhm.
maybe you do want to record them through video. Look, I'm always going to say write, because writing helps you hone the message. And you don't
Okay.
have to be a great writer. This is where people, I think, get a little intimidated. They think they have to be a great writer. You don't,
Right,
because
right.
you can hire an editor, you can hire a proofreader, and they will clean all that shit up for you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about that. You got to just get the points out. Once you get your philosophy down, then you can make your videos. And here's the thing, when you're writing out a philosophy, you're working out all the problems in the philosophy while you're writing. Notice how when you go to make a video and you stutter and you hem and ha and you go off on a tangent, then you're all over here. And then at the end, your video wasn't about nothing, or it was about everything. Like, it was like too much. It was like, okay, my video is about 500 different things. There's no point in this
Mhm.
video. People don't always like to, that's not the best teaching video. Okay.
Right, right.
When you take the time to actually write about your subject, you're making a relationship with that subject. You are engaging with that subject and you're owning it. You're making it yours. So after you've written, you can then say, let me tell you about this blog article I just wrote, okay? Then,
Mhm,
because you've already written it out, it's already in your mind, and then you're clear, right? You're talking and you're sounding bright in your videos because you know your subject matter. Does that make sense?
yeah, I guess for me, it's more like when you're doing readings for uh when you're doing readings for people and they're paying for that session, that's a one-on-one thing.
Sure.
But when you're doing a video, you got all of these people coming through. And so do you do, I don't know, are you trying to do just pull a card and just speak to whoever it is for?
Sure, that's a different type of video. Absolutely. That kind of video doesn't really require um, a philosophy, though. That's not really what I'm talking about. That's just doing a tarot reading in front of a video,
Mhm.
and that's just reading tarot cards, or, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that just reading tarot ain't nothing. That's powerful, okay? I love doing tarot readings. That's important. But tarot, your philosophy can come through tarot, but I'm still saying that doing the work of understanding why you're saying what you're saying and taking responsibility for it. And when you want to move into the level, where I work, where you are, you're well paid, your appointment book is full,
Right,
and you have, when you've established yourself,
right.
in order to get there, one of the reasons I'm so effective is because I know my philosophy. I've
Okay.
never written a published book, but
Mm-hmm.
I've written probably 100 ebooks.
Okay.
And my blog has on it over 325 blog posts.
Okay.
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 Each one of those blog posts, and don't get me wrong, my blog ain't perfect. Okay, it's not, but
Mm-hmm.
it is philosophical. Okay,
All
it is
right.
philosophical. Okay,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I work stuff out. I talk about narcissism. I talk about, the pain that I felt, and
Mm-hmm.
I analyze it. Okay, and
Okay.
that helps me
Mm-hmm.
understand myself, and it also helps my readership understand themselves. And so that's why I
Right.
say the writing is so important, and
Yeah.
using your philosophy, developing your philosophy will take you very far. It'll take you very far. And honestly, in my humble opinion, working through your spiritual philosophy takes you closer to God. Here's why. When you sit down and you write, you start channeling. You aren't, when I'm writing, I'm not writing me. I'm writing, I am channeling all sorts of energy from above, and it's coming through and it's giving me information and it's helping me expand. It's healing.
Yes.
Writing is powerful. And
It is.
you can do that also when you're talking in front of your videos. But it's different though, because in a video, unless you're going to do a lot of editing on your video, you know, your mind is going to come in and it's going to do what your mind does. It's going to think. And then that
Mm-hmm.
may not be great for your video. If you get confused, if you get triggered, by something, and now all of a sudden you're mute, you can't speak, and you're like, I'm lost. Oh gosh, I'm off track. I don't know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing is not great for a video. I mean, it's cute every once in a while, but that's not going to be the thing that that makes you powerful. Okay. So again, doing some work behind the scenes and then making your videos change the dynamic of what you're offering, and it'll change the way people approach you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check in with Facebook and see what's here. Roxanne is still with us. Roxanne says, you go, girl. I always auto write so my writing can be messy and yes, and unpunctuated. But Roxanne, when you're doing automatic writing, you get some interesting stuff that comes through, right? I know you do. I love doing automatic writing myself. I usually I do my automatic writing with my left hand, my non-dominant hand. And I because I write backwards, like it writes backwards, I don't know what I've written. I have no idea. So what I do is I put on my voice recorder and I speak out loud what my um I speak out loud what my hand is writing, and I speak a bunch of gibberish, but it starts actually having some really significant insights, and that's really the most powerful way for me to channel. Roxanne says, yes, yes. All right, my lovelies. So look, that's all I really have to say for you today. I want you all to as you all go forward with your work as healers and life coaches and what it is you want to do, um, I want you to consider these 5 pathways that I'm talking about. And I'm going to publish my pathways in our group so that you can have access to them. Uh, And keep in mind, this is my humble opinion. This is my experience. There are so many ways of doing things, and I want to encourage you always to follow your intuition, follow what feels what's right for you, and do what works. Okay? If your way is not getting you the results you want, then you might want to listen to somebody else's advice. But Using your intuition is always, my intuition has never steered me wrong. So I recommend you use your intuition, and I'm going to be here to give you my perspective. Okay, so use those 5 pathways and guide yourself through your business building, through the building of your business. Okay, guide yourself. If you need help, I'm here. Okay, I am a spiritual life coach. So if you're having trouble with your emotions, your mindset, you're suffering from limiting beliefs, book in for a complimentary discovery session with me. I also have my certification program that will certify you as a spiritual life coach, and it helps you do all those things I mentioned in my 5 pathways, which, it's everything from doing your healing, developing your philosophy, developing your program, building your business, launching you as a coach. All right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, my friends. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasure. Thank you, Kia, for coming. Thanks for being bold and coming and joining me.
Oh, yeah.
All right, darling. Have a great evening. Bye, everybody. Bye.